So here's the sitch on the ATL box score today. We get into the state of Georgia football. We bring that segment back, and then we get into NFL free agency. No special guests this football Friday. Just me and Steve hanging out here, talking sports, or actually in this case, talking football. So talking football Friday.
I always feel like I'm a special guest.
You always feel like you're a special guest? Well, anyways, so that is the situation going on here at ATL Box Score. This is the ATL Box Score, Atlanta's newest sports podcast, and you're listening to Football Friday. With starting a new podcast, people ask me all the time, Alex, where do you record your show at? Do you do it at your house? No, I don't do it at my house because of just a lot of different logistical factors. The place that I do it at is actually a place called Spaces Midtown East. And Spaces is a co-working center where I get my show recorded and I get other work done. Co-working has been one of these new phenomenons in the private business sector that has popped up recently. And Spaces also has another brand called Regis, which is more of a professional brand. Spaces is more for creators like myself. But to tell you more about these special brands in the business world is Mr. Steve Choi.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate those kind words. We absolutely love having you and ATL Box Score as part of our space. It's always great when we see you doing your work. But absolutely, Spaces and the Regis concept, we are both workplace providers here in the Atlanta area, but all around the world. We have over 250 Spaces locations worldwide, plus over 1,500 Regis locations. And what we're really here to do is just provide flexible options for any type of professional, whether you're an independent professional, creative, or if you're a large or small business. So we have several different types of options from small to large and memberships, part-time, full-time. So definitely come on out and check us out. Go ahead and look at the link on Alex's site and ask for Steve Choi. And if you ever come into one of our locations, let us know that Alex sent you or ATL Box Score, and we'll go ahead and set you up with a free 5-day test drive.
Yeah, you can't beat that 5-day test drive. In those 5 days, you will know if Spaces or Regis is the right brand for you. And Spaces is all over the place. They're a little bit more limited, but they're in the main areas of the city. The one we are is right in the heart of Midtown near the Fox Theater. There's one at the Battery. There's going to be one opening up North Point Mall there. And there's also a location in Colony Square. So they are all over the metro area. At just about any major business building in the Atlanta area has a Regis in it. So just Google them. But Spaces and Regis and Steve Choi in particular is your place to do your business. What's up, guys? We are back on another Football Friday. Just got the Chick-fil-A biscuits in me, and we're ready to go here on... It's not it's about to be a Friday afternoon because we're getting to that 12 o'clock mark. Cutting it a little bit too close for, what I like to do when I record. So, but anyways, Football Friday is today, and did you see the ACC tournament last night?
I did not. How was it?
We had Zion Williams come back.
I heard he went off.
Yeah, he did. First thing, he's just dunk face, all over the place.
Yeah, and you know what? He was 13 for 13 from the field, and 2 of 9 from free throw. If he would have just hit those 7 more shots, he would have had 7 more points. He would have killed it.
Right, he would have killed it. So that was like
So it's a dunk fest, huh?
yeah, and now the North Carolina Duke rivalry is gonna meet for a third time this year, and now it's gonna be pretty critical to see who makes it to Saturday in the ACC tournament.
Nice.
You know that tournament's held in the city I was born in.
I'd imagine so. Yeah. Nice.
Like Charlotte's really has turned up. So, and also too, I saw a funny Instagram post from like Atlanta Memes where they showed Joseph Martinez with all like the hardware that he got last year.
Yeah.
Including the MLS Cup. And pretty much the caption was like, Atlanta United fans, just chill. Do you remember what happened 4 months ago?
Nice. You know what? You know what else I heard about that?
What's that?
I heard a fan got an ex or a cop got beat up outside of the game the other night. Like he had a bottle thrown at him and smashed.
As a
over his
cop,
head.
how could you get beat up?
Well, he was. I guess he was just going to the game. He was a fan that day, and so. But I guess there was some like the guy that he was with was wearing the away team's uniform or whatever the case may be, and there was some sort of altercation. Next thing you know, a bottle gets thrown at the guy who happened to be a cop, busts over his face. He's got lacerations on his face. I'm like, when did Atlanta United fans become like
so hostile?
Yeah, when did they become like Dodgers fans? I mean,
that's a
seriously.
reference that
It's like Thug Life.
we need to help giving you more East Coast references.
Okay, but here's the deal. Here's the sitch. I figure Atlanta United fans to be more inclined to hurl Harry Potter spells than bottles. No disrespect. I mean, I got plenty of friends that are into Harry Potter too. I'm just saying, given the nature of the fandom, I would expect more. It's just totally out of blue. Like they're booing their team, and now they're throwing bottles at people. Like, what's next, man?
Right.
Change your names to the Falcons.
I'm gonna ignore that one. That's just crazy and wild.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I saw that on the news. I was like, "Whoa, are you serious?" At an Atlanta United game.
And it's like now that I don't think a lot of Atlanta United fans are going to be listening to this podcast anyway. So, but man, you threw some shade at them talking about Harry Potter spells.
I mean, look, I am not quite a nerd, but I have a lot of
Nerdy friends.
But again, my Twitter handle is Peach Geeks, so you can call me out too. All I know is that whenever during the season, a lot of the people who have never been sports fans, like never followed the Braves, didn't care about the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl, all of a sudden, those same people who also happen to play Dungeons and Dragons,
Right.
were like, "Yo, go Atlanta United," and I was like, "Are you guys like soccer fans?"
Right. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it didn't make sense, but I think they were Quidditch fans.
Well, I think it's one of those things that it's like they just wanted to. They liked it because it was international. And since it's an international sport, it's easy to root for because, or it's that one sport they probably played.
Right.
Not saying that it's like soccer. It's not athletic. Like obviously, like those guys are in super good shape and everything like that. But it's like I could see that it's like that would be the one sport that someone picks up that doesn't want to, that's afraid of contact or thinks baseball's too boring or you're not big enough for football. So
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's interesting, but again, hearing the boos and the and all the other stuff that's happening is just kind of, it's disappointing because like them or love, I'll make fun of them, but at the same time, I was kind of digging the fact that the Atlanta United fan base was different. and the fact that they're like, people who didn't follow sports. So to me, it was sort of like, oh, that's kind of cool that this new team in Atlanta is drawing more of a crowd that is a little bit more eclectic and just a different brand of fan than you see at a Braves, Hawks, or Falcons game.
Right, absolutely.
So I thought that was cool, but to hear about what's going on it is disappointing. It's like, wow, guys, now you just became just like every other fan now.
Right. In the words of Johnny Carson, that's some weird, wild stuff, man.
That's my Ed.
Ed.
That's my Ed McMahon.
I never knew who he was. I know he was like the published the thing that you
Publisher House sweepstakes.
yeah, the thing you got a lot of money for.
Yeah.
But I was like, and then it's like I did my research. Well, I was interested in the Carson show at one time, seeing how he pulls everything off, and then it was like, oh, so that's Ed McMahon.
Right.
That's why that's why he did the thing. So that's how he got his foot in the door in entertainment. But anyways, back to football, since it's Football Friday, because I thought it was funny. I did see though I did see an interview from the new Atlanta United coach. I was kind of curious if he spoke like fluent English. Guy kind of sounds French.
Where is he? Is he Dutch?
I think so.
Or is he Dutch?
Or like from. I was gonna say, yeah. I think he's from Holland. Well, they call it the Netherlands now.
Oh, the Netherlands.
The Netherlands. So.
Amsterdam.
But he called it. He described, and I get it because he's from a foreign country and everything like that. But it's like he described soccer. He didn't say soccer. He called it football.
Of course.
So on this podcast, that's enough talk about football. And we're going to talk about football. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the state of Georgia football. Not Georgia State. We're talking Georgia Bulldogs. But first, this is the ATL Box Score podcast. I'm Alex Berger. Alongside me in this segment was Steve Choi. And if you're just discovering this, if you're finding this for the first time, we are on social media. So check us out on social media, ATL Box Score on Facebook, Twitter, and Insta. And also to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'm stealing this off my good friend, Lawton Childs. The ATL Box Score is available where all good podcasts are found. So check us out there. If you like us so far, hit that like button or that subscribe button. Definitely would appreciate that. That definitely helps us out. Next, we're going to go into the state of Georgia football. So right now we're getting into the state of Georgia football because if your calendars aren't marked right now, that Georgia right now is March 15th, and on the 19th, which is Tuesday, Georgia starts spring practice. And G-Day is on the 20th of April. So it's good to see the Dogs getting back to spring practice and that we're starting that cycle all over again where football season is somewhat approaching because we are, let me pull up, I have it somewhere here on my computer. I'm just trying to pull it up real quick. Yep, we're 169 days away from the start of college football season, and the in that game up in Vandy when the Dogs take on the Commodores for the first game of the season. That's going to be weird when that happens, but anyways, reading an article from the AJC this week talked about Kirby Smart was frustrated about Georgia's performance in the Sugar Bowl. which he should be. And the article also talked about, which I agree with this too, that the Sugar Bowl was the worst performance or the worst loss of the season, even trumping the LSU game, which the LSU game was bad. But having a quarterback like Sam Ellinger just throw all over your defense, and you're a defensive-minded coach, is a little frustrating. Then it's like you even have guys leading up to the combine talk about, yeah, we didn't really take this game seriously. That also, too, is one of the things that's frustrating Coach Smart. So you're pretty much giving it all you can 13 games out of the season, including the SEC championship. But that last game of the season, even though it doesn't say CFB playoff, that you're not playing in Dallas, you decide to totally check out. Which I kind of have mixed feelings about this. I get it that you have a high standard, and I'm glad Georgia has a high standard right now of trying to get into the playoff every year, because it seemed like with Mark Richt, it was kind of like, oh, whatever. We'll settle for the Capital One Bowl, whatever, or we'll just let Missouri win the SEC East 2 years in a row. We're okay with that. At least you have that going for you, where it's a bust if you don't make it into the playoff. I'm glad that at least we have that. But at the same time, I'm kind of just like, this is a game where you could possibly get better. And this is a game where if you're saying on Twitter that we deserve to be in the playoff over Notre Dame and rambling on about that, well, it's kind of hard to back it up when Texas has 3 touchdowns on you going into halftime. And this not giving it your all or giving your best effort is kind of like putting a statement out on Instagram that, you know what, I'm just going to take pictures of me and my Lambo with the suicide doors. That's pretty much what you're saying. Or I'm going to take pictures. I'm only going to put on my Instagram account me and my girlfriend, or whatever. Because it's like if you have a good picture that you took that's on your phone, might as well put it on Instagram. So that kind of bothers me that you're not really that. And I don't know if it's a culture thing or whatnot, but it's like, so every game to you doesn't matter, just the ones that lead up to the big games is pretty much what you're saying. So that kind of I mean, I get it, Steve, but at the same time, that kind of just frustrates me.
Yeah, man, I can see why.
Do you think it's a society thing that it's like, oh, I'm only gonna go this far, but if you ask me to give it my all in a game that really doesn't matter,
yeah,
I mean,
I think it's a shift where, back in, I don't want to say the old days, but there always used to be that adage of, no matter what's on the line, give it 100 and
right,
whatever 10%. And nowadays, everybody's worried about being injured. Everybody's worried about, what potential impact could this be, or, it's just a game. It's, what's on the line or what's at stake in these games, like shutting down players because it's not a big impact game, or all these other things. And yeah, I agree. I think it's a cultural shift. It's a societal thing nowadays. It's like, only pull out your best when it matters.
Right. Right.
And I don't know if that's a good thing.
I get it from a standpoint from like someone like DeAndre Baker, which was a huge loss if they could have him in that game. To I kind of support players who want to sit out the bowl game. That doesn't really matter at the same. But
that was a different. Well, yeah, you're right. No, that's kind of the same thing.
But at the same time, I'm kind of just like, if you're not in that position of getting drafted, like, you should be psyched to play. I mean, it's a chance to get better.
Yeah, I certainly, yeah. I mean, and to see and get some time.
Right. I guess if I was a player, if I had a choice to sit out and I was going to be a number 1 draft pick, I would only sit out if I had some sort of nagging injury.
Right.
Like, I would want to play, but that's just me. Another thing that's going on in the Georgia football universe, that there's been some ticky-tack things with the Florida-Georgia rivalry, and now it's really turning up to be a heated rivalry. I mean, Georgia got one of the Florida's defensive back coaches. Florida got a running back that Georgia was trying to get, and now you have Dan Mullen talking about the Justin Fields thing. Let me just get a drink of water real quick, if you guys don't mind. And let me just read what he said. I think we do a poor job of recruiting guys and then immediately walk out the door because it's something different than they thought. It would be we lied to them during their recruitment, or we sold them on a dream that just wasn't true. That most likely was a shot across the bow to Kirby Smart to the Justin Fields transfer. And this is probably what makes college football great, is that you have things like this that just stir the pot. Because for a while now, you would get away from things, and some things were kind of got out of control and stuff, and things weren't handled with class. But at the same time, this is great for programs like this. I love this quote by Dan Mullen. But I have to say I don't like they took a shot at Georgia. But at the same time, look at what job he has. He's the Florida head coach. Like, that's like in the job description. It seems like that you're supposed to take jabs at Georgia since Spurrier was there. Here's how I feel about the Justin Fields thing. It is what it is, guys. Let's just be honest. He was a guy that was committed to Penn State. He backed out of Penn State and then somehow fell in love with Georgia, winning those games back in 2007. And he was probably, I'm assuming Justin wanted to be part of a championship type of team. And Georgia was that team. So it's like, you can't blame Kirby Smart for trying to get all the best players. I mean, there is an adage thing with quarterbacks in college football that if you're not the starter, everything transfers. And that's kind of the adage, though, when you start off at a small school like a Lanier Tech or something like that. Everything transfers. So I can't blame him for. I can't blame Kirby Smart for going after him because he was a once in a lifetime type of talent he looked like in high school, and I think he still could be a Heisman frontrunner or win the Heisman Trophy. Unfortunately, it's not going to be in a Georgia uniform, but still, like, I can't blame him for going after him. And I don't think Georgia lied to him or promised him things that weren't going to be true. I think they told him it's like, you're going to have to compete with a guy that you're going to have to compete with Jake Fromm, who's had a year of experience. He was also stated that he was comfortable coming into a situation where he was going to have to ride the bench. And now I feel like this guy was given every opportunity in front of him last year. He got significant playing time. It's just, it wasn't like he was Tim Tebow on the 2006 Florida Gators national championship team. It just didn't work out. He was good enough to play, but at the same time never got comfortable in a role. And the time that could have saved his time at Georgia, and granted this was probably on the coaching staff too. I'm not want to put everything at this young man and everything like that, but that fake punt at the SEC championship that, turned the momentum of the game and everything, that was his time to shine. And unfortunately, just because of some mismanagement and Justin Fields in that moment looking like a freshman, a deer in the headlights in that situation, it just didn't work out at Georgia. And now he's gone on to Ohio State, and I feel like the media's kind of, I don't want to say made things up, but they've kind of like egged this on, like Georgia did something. The guy was given every opportunity to succeed. It just didn't happen. It was just one of those situations.
Sucks for him.
Yeah. But at the same time, he's going to Ohio State where he's probably going to get the starting job, and
I mean, it's a business.
It is it's a business.
You know, the guy's basically you could ride the bench here and hope something happens, or well, not a hope, but hope that an opportunity comes available for you to go ahead and showcase your skills and you know, place and get some steady time. But you know, this guy's he's got to look out for what's going to happen after he graduates.
Right.
So he's got to go show these. This is as much as a audition as anything else in the world, right? So now he's got to go audition for these NFL guys to say, hey, you know, look at me. I can play the game too.
It's also too, it's good to know that Georgia could get a guy like Justin Fields, because for the longest time, those quarterbacks were kind of shy away from Georgia, like Cam Newton, because, well, Mark Richt wanted to recruit Cam Newton as a wide receiver. That was kind of a mistake. But it's like for the longest time, you couldn't get guys like that, and I feel like it's comforting that Georgia could get a Justin Fields if there's another one of those phenom top quarterbacks in the future. But unfortunately, Jake Fromm was just in front of you. And I know that a lot of unreasonable Georgia fans are going to speculate if, because I heard this on 6A The Fan, they were speculating if Fromm goes early and there's no national championship at Georgia, that you're going to be frustrated at Fromm. Because he drove away 2 quarterbacks. So I don't want to get into that hypothetical talk, but at the same time, I feel like for winning a national championship, Fromm is going to be your guy. that's going to get it done at Georgia. Another thing that it was good to see, and it doesn't surprise me that this happened too, it was good to see that the Dawgs showed out at the NFL Combine a couple of weeks ago. I think, it was last weekend. I can't remember. They're all blending together now. But it was good to see that Georgia guys did their thing, which I'm not surprised, and I feel like definitely with Kirby Smart that it's like Georgia is going to get you prepared for the next level. It's going to get you prepared for the NFL. Another thing that's going on with Georgia football, because the schedule usually it's kind of like one of these annual things that Thanksgiving every year is on Thursday. Halloween is always, is always on the 31st and everything like that. And it's kind of like you always play Florida Halloween weekend. You always play Auburn sometime in November, either the second weekend in November or the third weekend in November. And you always play Georgia Tech on Thanksgiving weekend. So it's kind of a standard type of thing. Like the Masters is always going to be when golf starts. Daytona 500 is always going to be when NASCAR starts. So it's those signature calendar things for Georgia fans that always stay the same. Well, now Auburn whines and complains that they have to play Georgia and Alabama in back-to-back weeks. So from a strategy standpoint, they'd rather play them towards the beginning of the season, which I get that. But at the same time, this is something that's going to be a little bit weird when you first have to do it. And so what Georgia's going to do is they're going to flip Tennessee and Auburn. Because the Tennessee game is always that either that first weekend in October or the last weekend in September. So the Georgia-Auburn game got a little bit hotter, and the Tennessee game in Georgia got a little bit colder. Because, buddy, I don't know about you, but I know it gets cold up in Neyland Stadium in November.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I wouldn't know,
but that's what you trade off, though. That's what I see, at least from a fan standpoint. That if you want to travel up to Neyland Stadium, that game's going to be a lot colder. Because most likely, that's either going to be a 12 o'clock kickoff game, or that's going to be a 7 o'clock kickoff game, which most likely I would rather have it be a 7. So it's like we're going to probably play a lot more night games in Neyland Stadium after 2020. I'm kind of curious. Well, maybe I'll come up with that at the end of the show, but I'm kind of curious. In 2020, does Georgia play at... No, they play for the first 2020... I'm getting this information off the dome right now. They actually play at Georgia. So it'll still be cold. Probably won't be as cold. And 2021, they're going to play at Tennessee. So, and then I think in 2020, you're going to have to play at Auburn. Yes, you're going to have to play at Auburn. So, that's the new schedule talk that's going on, and I'm interesting to see how this shakes up. There's nothing really I can do right now. Just kind of moan and complain, see how this shakes out. Usually Auburn looks either pretty garbage at the beginning of the season, or they look pretty good. It's usually either or.
Yeah.
it's usually the wheels kind of fall off towards the end of their season if they're doing good. But
So garbage or good?
yeah, garbage are good.
Hey, I think that's a new segment. Garbage or good?
We'll talk about it in our think tank discussions.
In our private meetings.
Right, in our private meetings, and hopefully we can figure out Craigslist too. That's an inside joke, guys.
Garbage or good? Craigslist, garbage.
Right now, for me, it is. And the last thing in this state of Georgia football, I want to talk to you guys about the Georgia-Florida game because there's a lot of discussion right now. Should it be played in Jacksonville? Should it be played in a home and home? And for those people that are all about getting out of Jacksonville, I was in the same boat for the longest time. I don't really want a home and home. I think it would be cool if we could have like a neutral site versus neutral site like they did back in the old days, because they used to play that game in Savannah back in the turn of the century. And then they used to play in Jacksonville. I think it would be cool if they could, because obviously Savannah hasn't developed itself, but I think it would be cool if they could play here in Atlanta and then do a game down in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I don't know. I think is, to me, on the outside looking in, I think it's kind of cool that they have it at the same place every year, and it builds memories. Let people, even regardless of whatever, they can also
bringing down your RV.
It's an event. It's, what is it? The biggest outdoor cocktail party.
The world's largest. If you went there, Steve, you would absolutely love it.
I can't. I want to go one year.
Okay, we're gonna go.
Can we start a GoFundMe? Because I'm gonna need a lot of money.
Yeah, we're gonna rent out the RV and everything, and I know some people that have RV get passes to the RV park. My brother really actually knows someone. So
would they do me bodily harm if I showed up in like an Alabama RV?
Let's not tempt things right now. And by the way, you're not going to be wearing Alabama stuff if we go.
No. I'm not that dumb.
But for those people that are against that want to do a home and away, first of all, it's Jacksonville's Christmas down there. Like, it's their economic Christmas. Like, they need that game to survive. Atlanta doesn't need a game like that because they have the ACC Championship. They have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So that's two gifts around the Christmas season that sustains Atlanta's economy. But for Jacksonville, they absolutely need that game to survive economically. And the cool thing is, if you haven't been down there, it's like going down to the Super Bowl. Everyone is dressed up in Georgia, Florida attire. You choose a side, even if you don't really care about any of those teams. You choose a side because it's fun. Like, buddy, the last time I was down there, I went into a Waffle House, and the wait staff, like half of them were wearing Georgia stuff, half of them were wearing Florida stuff.
That's interesting.
So that's kind of like, and this wasn't like close to like the downtown area or anything like that, because here in Atlanta, it's like Chick-fil-A kickoff game is going on, and you could have music midtown, and it's like those two events would never cross paths because they're on opposite sides of the town, opposite sides of the city.
Right.
And it's like you don't know about it until you're down in those areas.
Right.
But it's like in Jacksonville, everyone knows it's Florida, Georgia.
Makes sense.
So So you have that type of pageantry going on down there that the whole city gets involved, and the whole city just shuts down for the Florida Georgia game, or caters to the Florida Georgia game. You also have the fact that from a Georgia standpoint, I'm talking from a Georgia standpoint, it is hell of a fun when you go down there and you spend all Friday driving down there. You get there, you have to put up with the hot sun, you have to put up with those gator chomps and all that other stuff. But the coolest thing is coming out of there, especially when you put 42 on them. Coming out, getting a win in Jacksonville is something special. I know Georgia fans, I know we haven't done it in a long time. We're on a win streak right now, and hopefully that this year we can show those Gators that who the big dog is. But at the same time, it's one of the funnest things once you get a victory. Kirby Smart this year did his locker room celebration with the turnover visor. You really like that one. And it's like that was the only time that was the only win he really celebrated.
Nice.
So if you are in favor of a home and home, those are some reasons why why the Florida Georgia rivalry is just so good. I hope that they could possibly get to an agreement where they can bring back recruiting, and it can be somewhat of a recruiting visit, or have it to where it could be if you're committed to one of those schools, it's like another recruiting visit, something of that nature where they can involve recruiting, because they outlawed recruiting stuff, and that's why this home and home thing is coming up. But that is the state of Georgia football and what's going on in the Georgia football program. Right now we're going to get into some NFL free agency talk, and this is the ATL Box Score podcast, Atlanta's newest sports podcast. So right now, if you like what you heard, like, subscribe, and comment, especially. We want to get your thoughts on the Sugar Bowl this past year, and the Dawgs I'm losing it right now. Georgia's poor performance in that bowl game. Also, too, comment on what you thought about what you think about the Georgia-Florida rivalry, the NFL Combine, and the flipping of Tennessee and Auburn on the schedule. So put that all in the comment section, because we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you dog fans about what you think about all that stuff that's going on right now with the Georgia program. Well, now to close out the show, we just want to wish best of luck to Aaron Murray and the Atlanta Legends, because they're taking in the Alliance of American Football League. If you guys haven't been paying attention, there is football going on right now, being played, different kind of football. But still, you got people like Spurrier with the Orlando team in this league, and also Damian Swan is also on the Atlanta Legends, but he's injured, so that's why you haven't really been seeing him. But good luck to Aaron Murray getting his second start of the season, and wish him the best of luck, because he's definitely the quarterback for them, and I know that he'll be successful in that type of league. I don't know if that's going to lead to him getting back into the NFL, who knows, but at the same time, like, seeing him honestly playing against, because I saw the Arizona game, it was like flashbacks to when he was at Georgia. I saw one of his passes getting batted down, and I'm like, oh, great, here we go. And then it's like he throws a dart 30 yards down the field, and his guy makes a tightrope out of bounds catch for a completion. And I'm just like, yep, that's the Aaron Murray. That's the Aaron Murray I know. So just wanted to thank Steve Choi for joining the show. And this is where we need you guys' help, guys, because the show is all about you guys, the sports fans of Atlanta. And in particular, this was a heavy Georgia podcast. So just want to thank Steve Choi for being on the show, getting his opinions instead of it's just me talking against the wall because I can't see you guys. I don't really talk to a live audience, so I appreciate him and just getting to have a good conversation. That's what I want to do in this podcast. Just have good conversations about sports. So thanks for Steve for being on the show today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Definitely do that right now if you enjoyed this show. Or even if you didn't, because I've had some people putting some hate mail out there. There are some haters. So if you're a hater, I mean, tell me how you feel about me. Put it in the comment section. I dare you. So thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for being such a loyal audience. Appreciate all you guys out there, and hopefully this weekend can be a pretty interesting weekend with the conference tournaments. All the locals are knocked out, but just want to say go Tar Heels to North Carolina Tar Heels. That's the only dog I really have in the fight. I'm not that big of a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, but it does feel good when they beat Duke. And this is going to be a tough one tonight with Zion Williams back. So go Tar Heels, and yeah, it'll be entertaining tonight at 9 o'clock. Do the Dubs play anyone? Do the Dubs play anybody? Oh, but the Dubs are playing, so well, good luck to the Hawks and the Dubs and everything. So, all right, well, just want to say, yep, hope you guys have a good weekend, and we will talk to you guys, hopefully we'll talk to you guys in the comment section, but in the meanwhile, you'll be hearing us come Monday morning talking NCAA basketball. We're actually going to have Ned Kashaw on Monday morning to talk about the brackets, and hopefully he can make you guys some money on these brackets. So with that being said, this is going to be episode 39. So episode 39 is out.